Have you ever told yourself, I'm just not an organized person? And then wondered why no system or container or anything that you try ever seems to work? What if the secret to finally feeling organized isn't about buying more bins, but about shifting your identity first? And you've probably heard me talk about this before, but today I'm joined by Cammidge, founder of Declutter Your Chaos and host of the top ranked podcast named the same, Declutter Your Chaos. Amber knows exactly what it feels like to live in overwhelm and imposter syndrome and how powerful it is to break free. She's developed her own mindful approach to decluttering through her Amber method and her prep purge process framework. And she teaches women everywhere that clutter isn't just stuff, it's a reflection of what's going on inside. And we had the best conversation. We just met each other and now we're friends. And in our conversation, we dive into why mindset and identity matter more than any container or label system. So I think the two of us talking about it makes it even more available. And the power of alter egos, my space method for creating order in your home, and then Amber's practical, soulful frameworks that make decluttering simple and actually fun. I think you'll enjoy this conversation. We share stories about how clients have made the shift, how they've gotten organized. So if you ever feel stuck, scattered, or even secretly ashamed of your space, can you relate to that? This episode is going to be an encouragement to you in a whole new way. So let's dive in. Are you ready to work less, feel more organized and productive, streamline repetitive tasks, and implement systems that allow your coaching business to run smoothly even without you? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Organized Coach Podcast, your go-to source for practical tips and solutions. I'm your host, Tracy Hoth, professional organizer, certified life coach, simplifying expert, and most of all, down-to-earth fellow coach just like you. No matter if you think you're missing the organizing gene, have ADHD, or just love anything organizing, I'm here to help you become an organized coach with a business that works for you. Pull up a seat and let's get started.
Hi, Tracy. So good to see you. I'm so happy that we were able to do this.
I know this is going to be fun. I've never done one where we've posted our interview together. And so as we talked through this, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to talk about all these topics, kind of nerd out about organizing and decluttering and mindset.
I love it all. So just for our listeners, Tracy and I were talking about how we were going to do this interview. And I was like, well, maybe we'll just interview each other. So we're just going to kind of take turns. And like she said, nerd out about mindfulness and organizing and decluttering and all the things. I wanted to ask you, so what is sort of your approach? And then I'll tell you about mine. And then we can kind of like compare notes. So what's your approach?
Yeah, I love that also. We both agree that mindset is the most important thing and how we think about ourselves. Our identity is what I talk about a lot. Our identity in how we view ourselves, if we're organized, if we're not organized. And once we're in that identity, then we can follow the steps of organizing and decluttering. And then everything changes because we believe something different about ourselves.
It is so true, and I could not agree more. I was reading something yesterday about how to change your identity. And, they were saying that people, when you try to go on a diet or you try to change your behavior in it, whatever way it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then you might last for a few days, and you always come back to the, I guess, set point. And it's so frustrating. And they were saying that it's because the set point is established at such a young age, and it's like when we're babies. And so it's almost impossible to change that identity, which will ultimately be the mindset, unless we really get to like a soul level. And not to get too woo-woo on you so early on, but like they were saying, to get to like this soul level, you get there through, whatever one's like source of external I don't know, like call it God, call it like universal energy, whatever you want. But like when you can tap into that and then you realize that your power exists, it's infinite, then you don't feel so limited and you can change your mindset.
As a believer Christian, I think about how God created me and how he created everything. And so exactly, I can go to that same spot and think, I am made for this. He loves order, like it's meant for that, and not in a guilty way, but in a encouraging, like it's totally possible way. It's so fun to think about that and think of the identity. Now, here's one thing I want to bring up, and I just did a podcast episode about this, about like I am thinking myself. I learned this from Sarah Arnold Hall about the sentence that I am extremely organized. And I
Mhm.
don't think of myself necessarily as that. So it's been fun for me just to play with this and try this thought on. And when I try it on and give it the ability for me to believe it, and
Mhm.
just say, hey, anything's possible. I am extremely organized. It makes me kind of get this little smile. And then I think, what action would I take here if I was extremely organized? Not even if, because I am. What action would I take? And it's so fun to imagine. But the thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is that for one of my clients, it was really hard for her because she didn't feel like she was telling the truth. So it was like she couldn't even say that sentence out loud because it was so contrary to what her own truth or identity is, which I thought was really interesting.
Fascinated by this. I love everything you just said. And I'm going to try it. I'm going to try telling myself, like, because I never have tried that with myself. Like I've tried all the, I've figured it out,
Yeah.
but I don't walk around saying, thinking that I'm an like quote unquote organized person. I love this.
Well,
So
and
what happened?
extremely organized is even such a push on that.
What happened with your client? So she felt like a liar, and then what happened?
Then what we played with, and this is really interesting, we did the alter ego. Beyonce's the famous one who got up on stage and she went from being like a church singer to being powerful and sexy and a performer on stage. Her alter ego she named Sasha Fierce. And so she put on that alter ego when she got on stage. Same thing with organizing. Like if you're listening, you could try this, that you have this alter ego that you are putting on before you start to declutter, before you start to organize. And you can name her, him, you can decide what she's like. And so when I think about that, I am extremely organized. I think, oh, I'm minimal. I try to get rid of as much as I can. I'm generous. I try to give things away. I have only the things that I love, like the pens that I use and I choose first all the time. So it totally makes me have different thoughts about it. And if I put on that alter ego, and for my client, she was able to think like that because she wasn't saying that's who she was. That was the hardest part, which is so sweet, but so limiting
Mhm.
we what we want to create in our life. And so it was just so fun to talk through that with her and figure out, okay, what do we need to do? Because if it's hard, we need to figure out how to make it easy. And the alter ego part helped her a lot.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited that you just shared that because I think that is going to help our listeners so much. I mean, to imagine like somebody in their garage. This is what came to my mind whenever you
Yeah.
were saying all that. So imagine that you're in your own house, in your garage, or whatever that like room of shame is that you are wanting to tackle. And you can like put on this imaginary, even if it's like imaginary at first, this identity of this isn't my house. I'm the professional organizer and I'm
Yeah.
coming into this home, even and it's not mine. And I am going to like look at it so objectively, and I am going to impose this new identity upon this space, and I'm going to make it beautiful, and I'm going to get rid of the stuff that this person, which is really me, doesn't need. And it's just this is so fun. I love this approach because I'm all about like not taking this stuff too seriously and
Mhm.
still making feel product. So this is so much fun. I love this. And yeah, I heard about like the Beyonce Sasha Fierce thing. And I always thought that that was such an interesting angle because it's like, how does somebody go on stage in front of, hundreds of thousands of people? And then it's because she does it by becoming someone else. It's
Yes.
fascinating.
And that's really what we do when we think about our future self. But you could combine those two together and imagine like your future self. What does she keep and what does she live and how does she act and what does she think? And when you do all that, you're actually creating your alter ego. But right now, it's just easier to get into that, it's someone else, but really, yeah, you're becoming that person. I don't even want to think that I'm becoming her. I want to think I am her in this moment. I think that you make such different decisions if you think I'm becoming, I'm trying to be, I'm willing to move in that direction versus I am her. 100%.
Yeah. Isn't that a different energetic feel? Like just I am as opposed to I'm becoming.
Yeah.
It's so much more powerful. Like I am Sasha Fierce. I love that.
I think of actresses too that are playing a part, or I always think of Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man just because imagining him acting that part out,
Mm.
or maybe we should get a more recent
No,
movie,
no, that's perfect.
but acting that part out. And I remember reading, I don't know who the actor was at the time or actress, but where they acted in that part the whole entire time they filmed. They never got out of character. And we can do the same thing. Like, why can't we do that when it comes to making decisions about the house and what to keep and what to let go of?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. Okay, I know that you have a method or an approach or an acronym or
Yeah.
something that you help your clients kind of wrap their brains around as far as when they're in the space. And then can you share yours and then I'll tell you a little bit about mine?
Yeah. So mine is spells the word space. We are
Mhm.
creating space. And the first step is to sort. We don't make any decisions in the beginning. The second step is to purge. This is where I like to choose the favorites first. And then again, think about your future identity. What did they love? What do they use? What do they keep? And how can you be generous in that moment? Some of the things to make decisions. And then now that you know what you're keeping, you assign homes. So sort, purge, assign homes. And in this step, I think about zones, how to keep things in like a reading zone or a baking zone. And then also accessibility, like how do you get to it easily if it's something you use a lot. And this step is it takes some testing and some working out in the space that you have available and how it all fits. And then the fourth step is to contain. And I always teach people we never do this step in the beginning. We don't go to Target and buy cute products. We
No.
wait until we know exactly what we're going to keep, where it's going to live, how much of or how big or small of an item we would need to contain it, drawer dividers, shelf dividers, containers, baskets, bins, and or software if you think about online or a planner. And then the final step for the E is energize. And when you complete your decluttering and your organizing steps, you have this extra energy. You are energized by order and organization. And you can use that energy in different ways that you want. And the important thing here is that we maintain the organization. So I always say the secret to maintaining something is to tie it to something you already do. And so if you do taxes, every year you can go through your paper, or if you get groceries every week, you can clean out your pantry or tidy it up, or when you do trash, you go through your refrigerator to keep it maintained and organized. And so,
Oh,
whatever it is that you do, tie this task of maintaining it to that. So it happens naturally, eventually, as you move forward. So, that is my acronym: SPACE, sort, purge, assign homes, contain, and energize. Okay.
I love, 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 love that. And, you mentioned like, don't buy the products first. I think that that's how people end up. I'm raising my hand. Back in the day, I had so many containers out of control. How many containers can I have? Like, I had this during COVID, my like COVID project was to create, and this is where before I got into really narrowing in on just decluttering and then the mindfulness and all that. But I thought that the right container would change your whole
Yes.
life. And so I started this TikTok channel and I would review different containers on my TikTok channel. And it got a pretty big following. But it was fun, but it was now looking back, it was very misled because it's like you're starting at the end, honey. You need to start at the beginning, which is not containers. So I love that you just said that.
It's so funny. I helped a client. This was back when I worked in person. So I've been an organizer for 17 years and worked a lot of those years in person. And I remember at one girl, she had a condo or it was apartment, like a 2-bedroom apartment or something. And we emptied containers when we sorted. And
Mhm,
she had like the biggest mountain of containers on her bed, probably on the floor beside the bed as well. But
mhm,
she had so many containers, like
mhm.
cute bins and stuff. But I always say too, during that step, to shop your house first before you
Yes.
go buy cute stuff and
Mhm.
test it to make sure you even like it. And then you can go buy something that's aesthetically pleasing and matching. And if it works, if you even want to keep the items where they're at, use a cardboard box even if you have it.
Totally, totally. And I think that the fact that, I mean, I was guilty of it, and then most people I work with are guilty of it, and then the person, like, it's so normal to do that.
Yes.
And that's why I think it's, on the one hand, people, when I tell them that I help people organize, like, some people are like, "Oh, it's just so obvious. Don't you know that you do this and then you do that?" Actually, no,
No.
it's not obvious when it's so many little it's overwhelming, and B, there's so many steps, and no, it's actually not obvious to everybody, you know?
Yeah. And we think that organizing or declutter, whichever, is making the decisions first. I think that's the hardest part because I walk into my
Mhm.
own closet and think, oh, I should get rid of some stuff. And I walk in there and look at one thing and I'm like, I don't know. So I would leave. If I don't do the sort first, like I cannot make decisions on stuff.
It's so interesting how you really do have to put your brain in the right, like, step,
Yeah.
do the steps. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll
So
tell you
share
mine.
your, yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's kind of funny. I got really heavy into spirit, like, a lot of the whole mindset and spirituality stuff, and I still am, but my first acronym was the AMBER method, and that was awareness, and I stand by this, and I just don't talk about it as much anymore because I think it's more for mindfulness than it is, directly related to, "Okay, I'm ready
Mm,
to declutter, Amber. I don't wanna talk about manifesting right now, okay?" And while I think all of the things I'm about to tell you are so important for life, and that's why I've kind of, just put it in the whole mindfulness category of that's the method I use for mindfulness.
hmm
Anyway, so it's the Amber method. It's A for awareness, M for manifest, and then B for breathe, and then E for eliminate, and then R for receive. And I think all of those things are so important because you have to have awareness before you can. That's kind of what we're talking about
I
in the beginning
love that.
of this
Yeah.
call, like having awareness of, like the energetic awareness, and having that self reflective ability to not be in, there's so much that goes into this, but not be in avoidance, because that's what gets many of us into this predicament in the first place, is just being avoidant of it. Like, oh, I'll deal with it later. And then just not, basically living in denial, right? So there's having awareness, and that
Mhm.
takes so much courage. And then manifesting is, I love the way Mel Robbins talks about this. And I know lots of people talk about manifesting, but it's that manifesting, it really has a lot to do with what we were talking about earlier with the whole identity thing. And then
Mhm.
also there's like two pieces to it that I really attach to. And one is the identity thing, but the other is seeing yourself doing the action just a little, like when it gets hard. And you know how there's been studies done about how people play the piano and they actually improve a significant amount when they don't play the real piano. They just practice piano in the air. It's like that. That's manifesting in a way, because you're putting your brain in that space, right?
Yes.
And then breathing, obviously, it makes your nervous system calm
Mhm.
and regulates your nervous system, which is huge. I mean, whenever we don't feel safe to let go, it's because we're in this like tightness, we're holding on, and it's our nervous system that is like trying to keep us safe. So when we take
Yes.
deep, intentional breaths, we regulate our nervous system. And then E for eliminate, it's just like, okay, let's go. Let's go with some stuff. And then R for receive, because I am really into especially women allowing themselves to receive, because we are givers and all we do is give and take care of everybody else. And then we are biologically created to receive. And so we need to let in everything, like light, God, let in the goodness. But when we're so cluttered and when we're so
Mhm.
covered, buried with stuff and with responsibilities and overscheduling, we don't have any openness to receive. And so I think that's just so important. And that's it.
I
That's
love that because it's looking at such a bigger picture of it versus just the actual steps. And so it's so fun to think about this in organizing. I love the awareness part and the manifesting. And there again, if you're believing that you are extremely organized, you can picture yourself and what you would do. Then your little brain is like, but you're not. And then you're like, hold on, I am. And this is what it feels like. And to hold that as long as you can, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And then
So
like
good.
for course, which I'm just wrapping up on, I do a lot of like private clients, and
Hmm.
like it's extremely, what's the word? Intimate? What's the word? I mean, I know everything about my clients and
Yes.
most of my clients. I know every inch, and I'm sure you're the same way. I know every inch of their house. I know their schedule. I know like their strengths and their weaknesses and all the things about them. And I love working with them. But a lot of people they want to do it on their own. And so I created a course, and I don't have an acronym, Tracy. Like, it's just, I don't have an acronym for my
Who
course.
says we need an acronym? It's kind of funny, right?
Yes.
I just don't have an acronym, but
That's why I like have it guided, like very small steps by step, like little tiny pieces. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like,
yeah.
I created it so that like they can have like their private coach in their back pocket. So you're supposed to just like pull up your phone, press play. Okay, let me walk you through the steps.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yeah, and like what you were saying when you work with one-on-one clients, I think about this a lot. They're so vulnerable and they're
Mhm.
literally opening themselves up for us to see where they're weak in the moment or where they feel out of control in the moment. And I even remember like going to people's houses and I'm seeing their underwear.
Yeah.
And to do that, to be willing to do that is so courageous. I think that's part of the awareness piece that I think of too is like they're aware and they're willing to get help through it. And so I always loved that about my clients is that they were so willing to get help. And sometimes when I think about myself growing my business or learning a new skill or something, I'm inspired by people that have sought out help to get organized as well.
Tracy, I'm so, so happy you said that because I could not agree more. Comparing what we do, going into someone's house and seeing, like what you said, their underwear drawer or whatever, like the most vulnerable
Hmm.
parts and places that a person can show you. It's so much more revealing and it requires so much more courage, I would say, even than going to a therapist's office and sitting on your couch and then being very selective about what you choose to
Mm,
share. I
yeah.
mean, like if you're just like laying on a therapist's couch and you're like, well, I feel comfortable sharing this. You can be very selective. But when someone's opening up their spaces within their home and has the courage to do that, it's just, it's beautiful. It's so, like, it creates this bond between you and your client that is just so strong, and I think
Mhm.
that's probably why we love our clients so much, you know?
Yes. And so inspired because I know
Yes.
that part of my own journey in whatever I'm working in
Mhm,
is willing to be embarrassed, willing to be vulnerable, willing to
mhm.
be weak at something, or I don't know if weak's the right word, but unskilled at something,
Yeah,
bad at something in
yeah,
order to get to where I want to go.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's good. So we know our steps. So what are you going to do with your course? Are you going to create an acronym or you don't need one? You just decide you
I'm
don't.
not I already created the course, I'm literally just kinda putting the final touches on it.
It's
But
like a framework. A framework's the
oh,
same
yeah, it's
thing,
like a
but
frame. Okay. You know what? I'll tell you exactly what I did because I think it's really cool, and I think it could really help. Anyway, it's the 4 Ps, so it's not an acronym, it just kind of came up organically, but the first P is prep. There's a lot to go into prep
yeah.
and, like, mindset, getting your supplies, getting everything ready, selecting the room, the time, like, a all the logistics. That's so important to not fail, like, to set yourself up for success, you have to prep, and then within purge, it's like ready, set, go. So I have my lessons organized that way, like ready, set, go, because we regulate the nervous system. And then I tell them to set a timer. And it's like, go. Okay, go, girl. Like, you are not stopping until the timer goes off. So it's prep, purge, and then process. So this is where a
Mm,
lot of people have a hard time. And this, I'm sure, is what you help your clients with a lot because when you're going through things, lots of stuff comes up that you have to process, lots of little tasks, that's why you shoved the thing into the cubby. It's because you didn't know what to do with it. It was a little project, and so it's writing down all the things that come up during the decluttering process that gets stuck, and that's what is overwhelming. So it's the process, and then finally, it's protect, because once you've done this work, you wanna protect it protect it physically, energetically, in all the ways. So,
I love that.
yeah,
It's
I'm
so
super.
fun hearing of the frameworks or processes that each of us develop that we've seen that help people get to where they want to go, get
Mhm.
organized, decluttered, live the life that they want to live. So, if we kind of start wrapping up, is there anything that stands out as far as a client story or, one thing you'd have someone do if they're listening and they're like, I don't even know where to start, like what should I do? Let's go there and talk about a few of those things.
I love this question, and I can't wait to hear what yours is. Mine, it really does start with awareness. And I think that, the fact that we said in the very beginning, I think, and if we didn't, I will repeat it, but the actual act of getting rid of things and making all of those decisions and
Mhm.
doing all the physical work, while it is really, 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 it's hard. It's physical. it takes so much energy mentally, emotionally, physically. It's hard. But that is only 10% of it because it really is a lifestyle. And like we said in the beginning, it's an identity shift. And that part is the 90%. And that part can be done walking around in nature. That part can be done sitting in your bed, taking some deep breaths. That part is done by connecting with source. And that is what I would say to start with, is really pulling up the curtain on what's going on behind it and being so courageous and willing to look at yourself and what may you be afraid of. For me, and I talk about this a lot on my podcast, I was afraid that I was going to have to get a divorce. And so I was kind of hiding behind like, oh, well, I always have this project and it's like decluttering my house. So I don't have to address the fact that, my relationship needs to be dealt with because it's so scary and I wasn't ready. And so anyway, that I would say just pulling back the clutter really on whatever you're afraid of and looking honestly at that. And then once you do that, the steps become a lot more obvious to you because your outer world starts to reflect your inner world. That's what I believe.
I love thinking about that and thinking so many people, when they think of getting organized, they think of going straight to the steps and imagining like if it really could be that easy. Like if we could shift our identity and think about our mindset, that it would make all the rest of it so much easier and faster, possibly.
Yeah.
If we just did that first. So I love thinking about that aspect of it. And that's with anything when it comes to mindset. We can skip over it and it doesn't stop us. We go straight to the action steps. But you always hear people talk about how powerful it is when they take that time to journal. And the cool thing about the organizing steps for me, the space, is you can use it in your mind. So if you're sitting here listening and you want to start with your mindset, you can literally take the organizing steps and use it everywhere for everything. So whenever you're overwhelmed, start with sort. Get all the thoughts out of your head, all the tasks, all the to-dos, and sort them onto a piece of paper, and then go back through and purge them. What are your favorite things? What are that you want to do? How can you categorize them? What are your thoughts? What thoughts do you want to let go of? And then assign homes to them. You don't even have to get rid of all those thoughts of your previous identity. You can just assign homes from 4 to 5 today. I'm going to think these thoughts. And like this morning when I wake up next to my bed, I'm going to have these thoughts. And that's what I'm going to practice thinking. So you can use the organizing steps in your thought process, in your identity work as well.
I love this so much. I could just talk to you all day. I want to say one more thing before we have to go. I have this pine cone on my desk that I keep here all the time. And it's because there is order in nature. And if you look at a pine cone, there is, I think it's called the Fibonacci numbers. Anyway, they're very orderly. This is my point. And you said this in the very beginning of the chat. So there is order in nature and there's chaos in our culture. So if we intentionally put our thoughts and our bodies in nature and allow it to come to us, as opposed to the chaotic part of life, like our chaotic culture, the crazy drivers, especially in LA, the feed on Instagram, like all of that is just, it's so hard for us to intentionally have nature, like tap into the part of us, the human part of us, And I think when we do that intentionally, it's very helpful to the stuff that we're talking about, oddly
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love when you pull the pie cone out from, like, I can't see it, and then you just hold it up like it was sitting on your lap the whole time.
this pine cone, look at it. It's perfect.
It is. It's so
It's
fun.
insane. Look at this. This is not plastic. This is actual pine cone that I found outside. And it is just like it's in a perfect spiral. And there's so many things in nature that are like that. And that
And think of our human body too.
I know it's crazy.
Yes. Okay. And then I'll share a really practical thing that I was
Yes.
just thinking. So I'm doing these 15-minute declutter challenges. And if anybody wants that freebie, they can go get that at simplysquaredaway.com/declutter. And so my sister, I always tell her to do things for me first and try it out. And so
Nice.
she tried it out and she picked an area and she followed the steps, the space steps. And the one thing that I do normally when I'm helping someone get organized is I love to, when I sort, so I've pulled everything off of a desk or out of an area to sort it. And then I like to go back in and I like to clean that area, make it so beautiful. And so that's what she did in these pictures. So she put her shoe shelf that she was going to move there, arranged all her shoes on it, like made it so beautiful, vacuum dusted. And then you have something actually to go back to and look at in the whole time. So then she turned over to her bed where, all the stuff she sorted was, and she was like, oh, I got to go do that now. But because you have, like, you're energized because you can see the finished product or
Yes.
cleaned area. So just have fun with that too. When you're doing the steps, you can stop and you can go make something else super neat. That's why she put all the stuff on the bed. So she had to finish it before she went to bed that night. And it made her do that. But anyway, just do something that gives you that energy that makes you look over there and feel so happy and so proud of yourself that you've accomplished that. You can always come back to that. That's what I hear clients say all the time is like, I just go over there to that room and I open it up and I look in that closet and I just am like so happy. So,
Tracy, I think that is such a great tip and like the perfect way to end this. How could that not be inspiring for somebody?
yeah.
Like take the smallest area and make it beautiful. Like make it so you're proud of it. And then you can come back, keep coming back to it and keep reminding yourself, you see, I got this. I'm an
Yes.
orderly person. I am wait, you said I am
Yeah.
I'm an extremely organized person. Is that it?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
extremely organized. Yes, and
Yes.
you're building your evidence list.
Yes, you're building your evidence. I love that so much. So if anybody's listening, whoever's listening, try that. I love what you said about the doing it with like the shoes or like just something that's super approachable and doable in a short period of time. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that.
Okay, so Amber, let's share how anybody can find both of us if we're
Yeah,
wanting
totally.
more.
So mine is everything's declutter your chaos. So my Instagram is declutter your chaos. My website is declutteryourchaos.com. I have a Facebook group that you can access through my podcast. And my podcast, of course, that's the main thing is, well, if you're listening to this, it's online is my thoughts. Anyway, I think that's it. What about for you?
I know as you say that, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Mine's not all the same. So my business since the beginning has simply squared away. So my website, simplysquaredaway.com. My Instagram is my name at Tracy Hoth, Hoth. And then my podcast is the Organized Coach podcast. And then go get the declutter challenge. My sister's pictures of the area she chose. She chose too big of an area, but it worked out perfect. And she spent a little more than 15 minutes, but she got it done. And that's what she wanted. So her pictures are in that free thing that you can download.
Good. Oh,
Yeah.
what a great idea. Okay. Well, it was so great talking to you. This was so fun.
It was fun.
All right. Well, let's do it again. Let's figure out another time for us to connect. And I would love to have you back on my show and talk some more about, or what did you call it? Nerd out about
Yeah. geek out about organizing and mindset and things that are working. It's fun to talk about things that we've both seen that work for clients too. So I appreciate you being on my show and having me on your shows. Wait, if you're finding this podcast useful, you must check out the Organized Coach Academy. It's my course where I walk you through every step to get your business organized, to get yourself organized, to save money and time, to prepare to hire someone, to do all the things that you want to do in your business with ease. Check that out at simplysquaredaway.com/OCA. Also, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but I would love it. It's my way of knowing that you're enjoying the podcast if you leave a written review. I have lots of freebies for you. They're linked in the show notes. You can find them in my bio on Instagram at Tracy Hoth. And until next week, have a beautiful day.